Welcome in, I'm Artress, and in this video we're going to be going over Blue Yellow Ace and talking about some of the upgrades it's gotten from OP07 to make it more of a viable leader in this meta. So if you're unfamiliar with Ace and what it does, it says Dawn ×2 activate main once per turn. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add up to one 5-cost character card to the top of your life face up, then place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. The stipulation here is at the end of your turn, send all face-up cards in your life to the trash. So the general strategy here is you're putting some 5-cost character cards at the top of life, and then because of some of the babies from starter deck 13, you're able to cheat those cards out and then also boost your leader up to 7,000 power for an entire turn cycle. I'll go over more of that in detail in a second, but before we get into the deck list, if you find anything in this video useful or informative, please make sure to drop a like and a sub. It helps out the channel immensely, and I cannot thank you enough for the support. Additionally, if you'd like to talk about the One Piece card game outside of the YouTube comments, please make sure to join the Discord. The link is in the description below. Would love to have you as part of the community. So instead of going card by card like I normally do, I do want to talk about the strategy really fast here. Normally, you're going to be looking to run like Luffy, Ace, and Sabo from the starter deck 13, including the big and little brothers, so that you're able to cheat out some of these characters and then pump your leader up in the process. However, in this deck list, I'm only running Ace and Luffy to add a little bit more consistency as far as seeing what brothers you need. You only are going to be looking for Luffy or Ace. So we're running the 5-cost Luffy from the OP07. We're running 5-cost Luffy from starter deck 13, Ace from starter deck 13, and then a new card from OP07, Ace. What you're doing here, though, is you're cheating out these cards by putting them on the top of a life with the leader ability and then playing the little brothers down. This will allow you to trash the character and then play a 5-cost Ace or Luffy, which we have right here, Ace or Luffy, and then pumping your leader up by 2,000 power for an entire turn cycle. So that is the strength of this deck. It's the general play that you're going to be doing here. But let's go over the actual cards in themselves besides the ones we just showed. We are running 3 Pudding here. This is a very important card to the deck, and the reason why it's very important is because when you're using your little brother abilities and getting the bodies off of the top of life, your leader is going to be swinging for 9,000 more than likely, and then also on the crackback, you're a defensive 7,000. So that's very nice, but because you're swinging 9,000, your opponent is likely going to be taking hits when you're doing that. And you're going to be able to successfully do that for probably a turn or two, hopefully more consecutively than just a turn or two. And if you're doing that, either your opponent has to counter out a lot of cards from hand, or they're taking life and building up a huge hand size. So when they do build up a huge hand size, you can easily snipe it with Pudding, causing them to shuffle their hand back into their deck and then drawing 5. So oftentimes what I'll do is get to about my, I think it's 8 Dawn turn, use my leader ability, play a little brother, get the big brother out on the field. So now my leader's 9, and at that point you can either swing the 9 when they have probably like 8 or 9 cards in hand and they'll take it, or if you want, you can play the Pudding first and then swing the 9 and probably guarantee another hit going in because they're down to 5 cards in hand, and that will require at least 3 cards to counter out of a 9,000 power swing. So Pudding is very, very strong in this deck. You could run 4. I'm running 3 here because, well, you don't want to see it too often. You want to just play typically 1 in a game. If your opponent is able to build up another big hand size after you've played the first Pudding, then that might be a problem, but typically you're going to just want to play 1. Then we're running a new addition from OP07, Boa Hancock. I think this card really makes the deck strong as well, besides obviously Pudding. This is an on-play up to one of your opponent's characters other than Luffy cannot attack until the end of the turn, then place up to one cost 1 or less character on the bottom of its owner's deck. So this has 2 parts here that are important. One, it can stop a big attack coming your way. So typically you'll want to freeze like a Moria if you're going against Lucci, or maybe something that's even higher cost. Like if you're going against a Bonnie, freezing maybe their Zoro for a turn or their 10-drop Doflamingo. So that's very important. But the other thing here is it can bottom deck Searchers, which also is very nice because when you're playing this leader, you're not going to want to use your turns when you're up to swinging 9,000, swinging at a body that searches. Typically, you'll want to keep the body on the field, let them search up, and then potentially play a Pudding to basically snipe all the cards that they were searching out, and then the Hancock afterwards can then freeze something and then bottom deck the Searcher without you having to attack into it. So that's very nice there. Once again, we're running 3 here because, well, you want to see 1 or 2 a game. It's a very important card, I would imagine, and what's really nice is typically I want to go second with this deck, and so on your 10 Dawn turn, you can use this card to play down on curve. You can go use your leader ability, play down a little brother, use the little brother's effect, swing 9, have another body on the field, either an Ace or a Luffy, and then play down the Boa Hancock to freeze a character and then bottom deck something else. So that's a great 10 Dawn turn play, but typically you're going to want to play maybe 1 or 2 of these in a game. And overall, it's a very strong card, but your whole game plan is centered around the little brothers and big brothers here. So the new addition from OP07 that I think really helps this deck out, and one of the issues that when this deck first came out, it didn't have any blue aces. You really had issues, you know, finding the consistency pieces that you needed with just yellow cards for the most part. And so now that you have a blue ace that's a 5-cost character, that is very important to add to this deck. And this is also a very nice blocker as well. It's kind of on par with Sabo, other than, you know, the KO effect that Sabo brings in black. So this is a blocker on play, draw 2 cards, then return 2 cards from your hand to the top or bottom of the deck in order of your choice. So this will help you when stacking your deck. If you want to be able to use like a little brother's ability on the following turn, you can stack up either an Ace or a Luffy if you have one in hand. Also, this can help filter your hand out. If you have really bad cards in hand, you can just bottom deck them and then don't have to worry about having, you know, dead cards like maybe a Boa or a Red Rock or whatever it may be. So this ace is very, very versatile in what it can do. And don't be afraid to attack with this card as well, because, you know, in the meta where a lot of things either get KO'd or get bottom decked, and if it survives for a turn, please just use it. Like, that's what this card is for. It's obviously a blocker, but besides being a blocker, it can attack. So keep that in mind. Viola is another card that I've decided to play around with. I was running 4 in a previous deck list, and I like it a lot, to be quite honest, but I'm moving it down to 2 just for the sake of this video, because I do want to test some other things out while we're, you know, playing in the sim today. And so Viola basically does a very important thing for you. If you are unable to use your little brothers, or you have no little brothers in hand, and you want to use your leader ability, you can put something on top of life and then put the Viola into play. So it's a 2-cost blocker and it's on play. Choose one of the following. Look at all of your opponent's life, then return them in any order. Typically, you're not going to want to use that unless you're going against yellow. The second part of this, though, turn all of your life cards face down, is very important. So that will allow you to essentially heal with this blocker. So what you'll typically do is, if you don't have a little brother, to be able to play one of the bigger brothers out, you can put one of the bigger brothers out onto the top of the deck, then put a Viola out, and then it turns over face down. So then the second part of this leader ability, send all face-up cards in your life to the trash at the end of the turn, doesn't take into effect. You essentially healed one and then also played a blocker, which is really nice. You can also do this with the Satori, which is another 5-cost character that we have in the deck, which is just a 2k counter, and it does have a trigger, so you may trash 1 card from your hand to play this card. Sometimes it comes up, but typically I do like to just keep this as a 2k counter. So another 2k counter that we run is Flampe, which is from EB01. This is an on play. You may add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life cards to your hand, draw 1 card. This one is going to be for those situations where you do put a 5-cost character at the top of your life and you're unable to either rip it off the top or whatever it may be. You can use the Flampe to essentially draw it and then draw another card on top of that. So this one is kind of used in a pinch where it's like, okay, I don't have the ability to either play the character or flip it over. So Flampe really helps out there. Then another 2k counter that also helps out in these situations is Hiyori. I'm running a full playset of Hiyori because this one, like Viola, lets you heal up if you really need to. This is an on play. You may put the top or bottom card of your life pile into your hand, put up to 1 card from your hand to the top of your life pile. So you can use your leader ability, put something on top, and if it's nothing you can get or play out, you use the Hiyori to take it and then put something else on top, and you've, in that turn, healed. So that's really nice. So another new addition from OP07 is the yellow Monkey D Luffy. You can call it Egghead Luffy, Rocket Luffy, whatever you prefer. This is an activate main. You may place this character in your trash. If your life is 2 or less, KO up to one of your opponent's cost 4 or less characters. Then draw 1 card, and the trigger is KO up to one of your opponent's characters 4 or less. So that is very nice. The trigger sometimes comes up. However, this is a good card to have towards the end game to be able to play off the top, then use the little brother to rip it off, and then you're probably going to be hopefully at 2 or less life, and if they have a blocker on the field that you can KO with it, you use that effect, and then you can swing past without having to worry about a blocker. Sometimes this card is also good against Law, where you're able to KO a lot of their 4-cost characters using either the effect or the trigger. So playset of these is absolutely necessary in my opinion, and I think it really helps out with the deck overall. So something I'm testing out, and I'm not quite sure if I like it quite yet, but I feel like it somewhat makes sense is the 10 cost Ace, which is from OP07. It's an on-play. You may add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to your top of your life. Then if you have 2 or less life cards, this character gains Rush for the turn. There's times where, you know, you can't counter out of stuff, and maybe you'll go down dangerously low in life to either 1 or 0. And how do you heal from there? It sometimes is difficult. So I'm putting the Ace in because, well, 1, it allows you to heal. It's another Rush body, and towards the end game, it can be difficult for opponents to get rid of. And also, you're running Ace, like you're playing the blue yellow Ace leader. Why not add the yellow Ace bomb from OP07 in it? Overall, I don't know if this card belongs because it does take up an entire turn, but I have played it a little bit, and it does, when it comes out on the field and you are able to play it, it is effective and it does its job very well. And obviously being able to heal and stay relatively healthy is very nice as well. So we're testing it out for the sake of this video at 2. Not sure if I like it or not, but that's what testing out is for. Then we're running the little brothers at 4 apiece, so we're running 4 of the 2-cost Ace and then 4 of the 2-cost Luffy. Both of these are basically the same thing. You may trash this character and reveal the top card of your life. If the card is a 5-cost Luffy or a 5-cost Ace, you may play it, and then if you play it, up to one of your leaders gets plus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's turn. So these are absolutely necessary to have in your opening hand if you can. Typically, a game will be decided if you are able to get a couple of these in your hand. Otherwise, the games do become very difficult. That's one of the downsides of playing this deck, is if you don't see the little brothers, the consistency of this deck is all over the place. And even then, if you do have the little brothers, you're not sure what you're getting in the top 5 of your life. You just kind of have to hope that you're getting something that can synchronize with what you have in your hand. So these are very important to open up with, I would say. The other thing that's very important to open up with is the 1-cost Garp, which will allow you to search out the little brothers. Typically with the Garp search, I will always look for the little brothers because we only have 8 in total, and we do have 16 of the big brothers to find. So those are easier to find overall, but the little brothers are obviously harder to find. And so that's why I think that you want to grab them if you can find them. The other thing, if you don't see the little brothers with this Garp, it's okay to grab like the blocker Ace, because the blocker Ace can allow you to find pieces that you need by playing it just outright. So drawing 2 and then either top decking or bottom decking the 2 cards from your hand is very nice, allows you to stack. So Garp is really good to be able to grab the pieces that you need here. And then, of course, we're running 4 of the Ace, which is a on-play. If you have 2 or less life, this character gains Rush. So it's a 5-cost, 7,000 power body. No counter, and sometimes your hand can be plugged up with these, but overall, this card, if you're able to chain them, will win you games outright, especially if you're going against Lucci or anything that can just KO cards, because a lot of these cards come in standing upright, and then they aren't able to attack immediately, so then it gives black decks or like decks like Red Purple Law the ability to take care of them. The Ace, if you're at 2 life, they can't take care of. They have to either counter out or have to answer it on the following turn once it's already done its job and swung. So that's very nice. And then, of course, with this Ace against Red Purple Law, they have to use 2 cards to be able to bottom deck it, like an Otama and a Gordon, or Raise Max Otama, or a couple of Raise Max and Gordons, whatever it may be. But they can't just do it with 1 card, which is also very, very nice. Then we're running 4 of the Monkey D. Luffy from Starter Deck 13. This is a activate main once per turn. This character gains plus 2,000 power until the start of your next turn. Then if you have 1 or more life, draw 1 card and trash the top card of your life. This is very nice to be able to use your leader ability, and if you're unable to rip the top card off, you can just play the Luffy to essentially give this thing plus 2,000 power for free, draw a card, and then you don't have to worry about that card on top of your life going to your trash at the end of the turn, because it's already in the trash, and then you get a card in your hand because of this effect. So I think that this card is very strong if you play it that way. You can also use it in conjunction with the 10-cost Ace. If you're at 2 life, you can use this, pump this up to 8, and then heal back up with the 10-cost Ace if you want to. There's some nice little plays there as well, but overall, this will be used if you aren't able to really just rip a card off the top of the life with your leader ability. And then finally, to wrap things up, I'm running 2 Red Rocks. I've seen some lists run Gravity Blade. I think that's fine, but with Gravity Blade, you're taking care of 2 5-cost or less. And I think if you're using your ability enough and able to proc the little brothers into big brothers, it's hard for 5-cost or less. Typically, they're going to be 6,000 power max, and they have to invest Dawn to swing into you. So if you're able to use your little brothers, the Gravity Blade kind of feels a little strange. Obviously, it can take care of blockers, which is nice, or if the board is swarmed like Red Purple Law, that's also nice. but I think one of the problems this deck has is handling bigger characters. And so having a Red Rock is very, very crucial at some points in the game. Especially if you're going against Bonnie and they throw down a Zoro, Red Rock will help you. And the other thing that I really like about Red Rock versus Gravity Blade is that Gravity Blade is a 7 cost, whereas Red Rock is a 6 cost. So along the same lines as Boa Hancock, you can, on your 10 Dawn turn, use your leader ability, play a little brother, proc the little brother, and then also have enough Dawn to Red Rock something. So that is very nice. Whereas if you were playing Gravity Blade, you cannot do that. You can only do one or the other, and that becomes a little bit awkward with your Dawn. So overall, I think this deck list is kind of up in the air. I've something I've been testing around with, and there's lots of different ways that you can build this. And I've been playing things where you've been playing like 4 of Sanji's Pilaf, because I think Pilaf is very good in blue, and it's a card that I think if you're a 4-life blue leader, you probably should have Pilaf so you can get more resources, but I've opted for the sake of this video to just take it out and test out the aces and then violas, of course. So yeah, I think overall though, this deck list isn't too bad. So let's take it into the sim and see how it does. Okay, against Law, interesting. I know there's been a fair amount of Law been popping up recently, and I think that's just because it topped at an event. So probably people are trying to practice it. I imagine we'll see a little bit more of it as time goes on, maybe even less of it, depending on how people do or realize that it's really rough against Lucci. But regardless, let's try it out, see how it goes. I actually think that this Law, the red-green Law, has an advantage against us because they like to go down to 2 and then just wall up. And a huge wall is usually difficult for us to deal with, so that is something to keep in mind. Let's go here, swing 9. They'll usually take the first couple of lives, going to like 2. If we can get a pudding, awesome. Having this ace down is really nice. Ooh, this Luffy is probably one of the reasons why it's going to be possible to play Law. Let's go here. I think we just go like 9. Maybe go 9 again. Dang, they counter out of that one. That's insane. It's a lot of cards. I mean, it's the same thing as pudding, I guess. If they have a Otama, which they might be searching for right now, then we could be in a little bit of trouble, of course. They do get the Nami. I don't think they're going to be able to swing into this ace, thankfully. They might also not be able to swing into me, depending on what they do here. So the Law to probably bounce the Nami. Oh, Chopper's fine. This Chopper's pretty good overall. If we can get... Let's see here. Another Luffy. I think this Luffy's actually pretty good as well. Go here. I can't KO anything, unfortunately. That sucks. But it is what it is. Go 5. Let's just use the most out of what we have here. So they go 5, 7, 7. Probably block. Or maybe they counter out. It's the same thing. If we go out the Law, they're going to use this anyway, so it doesn't really matter. They will use the Chopper to reduce something here. Just fine. We want to have them at a low hand size, which they're at. They are going to be able to recycle the Nami, which they had. Let's see here. They're going 6, probably into this ace. That's fine. I can't use this anyway, because as long as this Luffy's on the field, it's going to be difficult for me to do so. I think we counter out of what we can here, because we want to keep this ace alive. 7k to them is always really a pain. The Viola is also really good, but we don't really need the Viola, to be quite honest. And the reason we don't need the Viola is because we can actually just use this Luffy ability. We have to keep in mind that this turn, they might stack a lot onto something like this Luffy. Oh, they're just blockering up. It is what it is. Okay, that's fine. Let's counter out. Okay, we'll go here. Another Luffy, we'll do that. We'll take this. Let's go ahead and use this so we can actually get the rush ace down, which is really nice. We're going to go 7. We're just going to hit them hard. Really, really hard. We're going to go 7, 8, 8, and then 9. So yeah, we kind of drew the nuts a little bit, to be quite honest here. Okay, and then 9, they're going to have to block this one, of course, and then pass. So they have to, I think, go for lethal here. It's entirely possible if they do get the restand law. I mean, we do have a fair amount of counter in hand, so I think we're okay overall, but yeah. They're probably going to swing really hard at something here. But this is one of those times where you saw all the little brothers, and it seems like everything just goes really well, you know? Like, this law saw a couple of blockers, and then obviously this Luffy's really good against some of the stuff I have, so, yeah, that's fine. Is it a restand law? If it's a restand law, we protect this one. Okay. Jeez. Insane! Yeah, they did have the restand law, but I don't think... I mean, it would have countered out and then been fine here, so yeah. Overall, they can't counter out of this clap back, which is really nice. And yeah, that's what happens when you draw the nuts with this ace. All right, against Reiju, I think that typically you're going to want to go second, but if you can't get second, if you can open up with a Garp, it's fine. Hopefully we can get the Garp into a little brother. Getting an ace is fine here because we want to stack our hand up with as many little brothers as possible. I think the next turn, what we're going to have to do is just swing 5-5. It's a little awkward because on 3, you don't really have the opportunity to use your leader ability and then also little brother. So let's just go 5-5, try to get a couple cards out of hand. Maybe we take life. So it looks like we are taking at least 1 life, and they'll probably counter out of the next one. That's fine. If they try to answer this, that's good for us. And then also if they decide to swing into us, I think that's also fine. We have a couple of puddings, which we don't want too many puddings, of course. Swinging into the Garp is an okay play. I don't really mind it. Ichiji is a problem, of course. So yeah, if they have that on curve, what can you do? Ideally, what we can do, though, is just take the hit. We do get another little brother, and maybe we can find an ace off the top. So let's go here. We do get the ace, which is nice. Let's go ahead and play this. Let's go ahead and trash this. And what do we want? Ooh, Red Rock is definitely good against their deck. They do have a couple of Ichijis. We have to be aware of that, so that's a problem. Let's go ahead and just do this. We might go down to 2 life next turn, so let's start placing these on top. So both aces. And then let's just swing 10 to 7. They're probably going to counter out of this. Oh, wow. I'm surprised that that actually went through. Not a problem there. Now, if we do happen to go down to 2 life here, we're pretty comfortable playing an ace next turn, so swinging pretty hard. The only downside is that, well, I was going to say we have to worry about a potential pudding, but at 4 Dawn now, we don't have to. If they decide to go all in here and swing 8, I'm okay with that because that allows us to be able to use the rush off of the 5-cost ace. So let's hope. Well, they didn't do it. Unlucky. That is unlucky, but it is what it is. Them using the Reiju to draw a bunch of cards is also very nice, but we're not really in a position to pudding quite yet, I don't think. The right time to pudding is always the hardest thing to figure out. But this is also good for us because we're not going to be able to swing our rush ace. We're able to just throw it out on top, which is perfect for us, right? We want to be able to do that. So let's go here. Swing 9. They might block it with this chopper. They don't. And let's swing with the blocker. Let's swing another 9. This is one where they probably... Well, they don't even counter out. Okay, so they could have blocked, which is fine. Maybe they have a reason to not counter out. Maybe they have a reason to not play the blocker. Either way, though, we're going to pudding them next turn for sure. It doesn't matter. Like, if they throw an Ichiji out here, it doesn't matter. We can definitely counter out of one if we need to. They're going to go after the blocker, which, sure, it did its job. That's totally fine. Do we want to be cheeky here? I think we do. I think we want to just soak up a hit. Like, we have them swing here. That's totally fine. They can do that. They're going to be at... Let's see here, 5. So 7 next turn unless they play another chopper. Okay, so they're not playing the chopper. They're not gonna be able to play their judge, which is awesome for us. If they decide to swing 8, we just take it. We just take it. They don't even decide to swing. That is so weird. Okay, so I think what we do is this. We pudding first. Then I don't even think we use our leader ability, to be quite honest. Like, where there's no reason for us to. Let's go ahead and stack the top. Well, let's swing 5 first. Get some cards out of hand. Okay. Swing 7 here. They might block. Do they not realize that this chopper is a blocker here? Let's see what we can get. Ooh, that's interesting. Next turn, we're going to be on ace. We're going to be on the ace turn next turn. So I actually don't know if we want to keep this one or the red rock. That's also something we should consider. I think I'm going to bottom deck both of these because I don't really care about playing that rush ace because we're not going to be able to unless they swing life. They're probably just going to focus on this ace here. If we can, hopefully, you know, play the 10. If not, we can just play this 10 cost ace and then heal up 1, go to 4, and be pretty healthy, and then have a body that they're not going to be able to take care of. So yeah, another rush Ichiji definitely sucks, but what can you do? We'll let this one go. I think it's fine. 6 to 5, we'll let it go, and then we'll hopefully take 2 hits here. I know that sounds weird, but hopefully we do. Then we can go 5 and then 10, and then have this blocker also. They're not going to be able to play judge as well, so they're just opting not to swing, which is fine by me. Okay. And then we're just going to heal up. If they're not going to swing in, we're just going to go to 4 life, and then let them swing into us, which is totally fine. Something to keep in mind is that they could, you know, just drop everything in the bucket here and start swinging in hard. And if they decide to swing in hard here, I think that we should consider that they might have a pudding. So counter out as much as you can where it makes sense. Also, if they start building up their hand here, that's also something to consider. Because they are getting a pretty big board size. I would imagine this turn they would probably swing with everything. Just counter out. I don't think there's any reason to take some of this stuff. If we go down to 2, we can actually just potentially end the game here. If they decide to swing in one more time, we can play this Luffy. I actually want to keep my hand size relatively low, so let's go ahead and do this. I don't want to get puddinged. That's the last thing I want here. If there's another blocker, then we have to keep that in mind. That could be a problem. They're going to be at judge turn next turn, so that's something to consider. But I don't think we worry about... Ooh, double blockers is pretty good, of course. Let's see what we can get. Ooh, that's also decent. Okay, so we do have a couple of things here. We can go... I thought about using the Luffy, but we don't really have the ability to yet. So let's go ahead and put the Luffy on top. Let's swing 7 at lead. Are they going to counter out or take it? Not quite sure what they might do here. Go 5 here. 10 here. Okay. Let's go ahead and use this to flip that down. And then we're going to play this to freeze and then pass. So we have a pretty decent board size here. The only thing that I'm worried about is if they decide to go really hard, which could be a problem. Of course, freezing this is nice because if this is a judge turn for them, then what that means is that they don't get the free 2 attacks here. We should, if we can, just block with Viola because... Well, it's not a judge turn, but if it was a judge turn, we want to be able to use this before they can bounce it back with the Niji. So that's something to keep in mind. Overall, though, I think we're in a pretty good state here because they know that we have a Luffy at the top of life. So if they swing in, we're going to be able to pop the chopper. And then we have a second Luffy as well. So let's just take the first life and then use the Viola. Gosh, they are going to town here. They have 13 cards left in deck. It's insane. Okay, so they're going to be able to bounce the Viola back. That's totally fine. Not really an issue. Or not bounce it, but KO it. Not really an issue here. Not really concerned. Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and do this. Take this. I wonder if we're able to get a Luffy. We're not. It's fine. Don't draw anything. Boom. We'll go here. Go here. Go 9. Just see what they get out of the hand. They might just dump their entire hand here. So, just so you're aware, what I did right there was, okay, we're going to go 7 because that means they have to get both of these cards out of hand and then we're able to freely swing. So let's go 7 again and then 10 to close it out. So they didn't have enough counter there, but what I did there was I played the Flampe to take the top card of my life because they purposely didn't swing. They wanted to be able to not have their chopper popped. So I just took the Luffy off the top and then played the Luffy because if I'm at 2 life or less, I can use the effect to KO something 4 or less. And so I just used it to KO the chopper. So they didn't get a free block off of that. So that's what I did with the Flampe there. Pretty good draw, although I think I had one in my hand before I drew that. So yeah, overall, you kind of have to play as aggressive as possible. There's times where Reiju will just continuously beat you down with Ichijis. I think that they didn't want to because they might have been afraid of crackbacks or whatever it may be. But yeah, I think we handled this match pretty well. All right, Lucci is going to be one of our harder matchups, especially if they see stage. It's going to be really difficult for us. But having a little brother in hand is fine. Hopefully we can get the blue ace and set up our deck even further. Of course, if we don't see anything off the top, I think that's okay. Of course, this blue ace, we wanted to see that off the top of the 5, but hey, maybe we have another chance here. Let's take the first hit. Hancock is good. Hancock's decent here. And we can just do this. So they don't have the stage yet, which is nice. This is a tough one. I guess we get the Satori. We'll just go 7. Then flip this down. I don't know if we want the Satori to come out. I think we just want it as a counter, to be quite honest, because I don't want to get rid of my hand in order to play this. Sure, that's fine. Let's go here. This ace is good, but I wish I was able to swing with it. Is the only downside. So we just have to swing really hard this turn. A little awkward. Not the greatest use of our Dawn, but hey, it is what it is. Maybe this next turn we're able to pudding them. On 8, you can definitely pudding, and that's good. But this might be a get rid of this ace. This could also be like an Ice Age if they're running it. Ice Age Lucci. They can't just go Kaku off the top, or like what they did here, because they're at 5. So yeah, Ice Age Lucci. That's fine. Let's go here. I don't really like any of these, so we're gonna bottom and then just go 7. And then we'll invite the Kaku to swing because I don't care if the Lucci swings, to be quite honest. Okay, they're going to counter out, so go here, bottom deck that, and pass. This is a turn where they could go 6. Yeah, they're going 6. Get probably a Moria turn. But can they do anything to get rid of this? No. Oh, they're not even doing that. Okay. Let's take it. They do the Tempest kick to get a card in. They get another Tempest kick here. That's fine. Another Lucci. Alrighty. Well. This is why it's a hard matchup, because they just definitely have the answers to everything. Go 10 to 6. Don't really care about the life quite yet. We want to be able to stay alive the best we can. And we'll go another 2K here. What can we do? Oh, we can do this. Return 2K, go here, and then 7 to 6. Maybe counter out. Okay, that's fine. If they decide to hit here, then we just get rid of the Lucci. We have unfortunately not seen too many little brothers at all in this. I think we've seen one in the entirety of the deck. It's definitely not the best. There we go. There's the second one finally. About time. Jeez. Cool. We'll go here. We'll do this. We'll go here. We'll go here. And we'll decide to go 9. So this is a really good turn for us, but they might have a decent crackback. Just depends on how hard they decide to go. If they decide to distribute evenly, which they did not, so we're able to counter out. There's a potential where we can, you know, not have this die, right? Yeah, it looks like one of them will survive. If they're going to play another Lucci, then it gets rid of one, and then we can have the other one. Here, we got super lucky with getting that little brother off the top, because, yeah, they are unable to counter out of a giant 17k swing. Yeah, I think that I mean, Lucci's always going to be a tough one, because Lucci usually has the answers that they need. They didn't see a Moria, which was definitely good for us, because I think their Moria play would have been like a Rebecca, or like a blocker, which blockers are usually annoying to deal with. But yeah, overall, we got lucky that they only saw one top end piece in time, and we were able to get the Red Rock to bottom deck it. That's why Red Rock's in the deck, to be able to take care of those big threats. We got him low hand size, and then we were able to rip an ace off the top into a actual played ace, get him down to 0, and finish the game out from there. All right, this is an interesting deck. Dragon has the potential to really, really like pop off, especially if they have a Nami on turn 1. But we do have the little brothers, the variety, so that's very nice to see. Of course, we have the big brothers in hand as well, which means that we have less of a chance to be able to handle them, so that's unfortunate. We'll definitely take this, because, well, we have to. We might be able to just, if they hit us for 6 here, then we might be able to get an ace off the top. If we get the ace off the top, that's really good for us. So here... this ace is fine as well, so let's go ace, and then we can set up. So we have Luffy, ace, Luffy. Let's go ahead and set up another. Let's go here and here. And I'm just going to get rid of this Zoro, because I don't want to have to deal with it. The less you have to deal with on their board, that's better. Of course, we have to be aware. Okay, another Zoro. That's great. Let's see here. I think we just go counter out here. And then we're going to keep the little brothers. That's what we want to do here. And on the following turn, we might be able to play the Hancock. Go here. Ooh, that's actually even better. Let's go to this ace. I wanted to get a rush ace if possible, which is we ended up getting. Perfect for us. Let's start being aggressive. This turn might be pretty hard for us if they have a Kid and Killer. Sometimes they run Kid and Killer. If they're running Zoros, they're probably running Kid and Killers, which is problematic, of course. If they swing into the blocker, we're okay with that. The other thing that we don't really want to see is their... what is the 4-cost? Karasu? Oh, so they're just going to go after this ace. I guess that's fine. We don't really mind. Yeah, Kid and Killer. Definitely a pain. I think we might want to actually counter out of this. Oh, this is good. We can go here. We're going to actually use the ability to get rid of this. Then we're going to go... Why not? Let's just go 9 here. I think the next turn is going to be their dragon turn. So they might just swing into this ace. That's fine if they do that. And then what we can do on the following turn is we could play Hancock, use the ability. Yeah, this is a dragon turn. Figured as much. If they go here, that's fine. We also have this ace as well to keep us alive. Something to keep in mind we might want to do. All right, let's hope for a Luffy off the top. Okay, well, we got one. That's fine. We're going to go here and then swing 9. Oh, that's good for us. Ooh, that's really good for us. Let's go here and then pass. So this can't attack, but they might go into like one giant attack with a second ace or second dragon. So something to keep in mind there. We could go like 5. Yep, we're going to counter out. They're going to swing 11 here. We could go like 5, 8, 8, 10. I guess it just depends on what they do. We'll go 5. Is it 8, 8, 10 better? Or is 7, 7, 8, 8 better? I think 7, 7, 8, 8 is better. Okay, yeah. They can't counter out of this one, but if they have 2 2Ks, then they have it. Yeah, whew, that was a close one. I feel like what would have been the right play? 8, 8, 10. 5, 8, 8, 10. I don't know. I mean, I think it would have gone through, but I think that the 7, 7, 8, 8 is probably better overall. Applies a little bit more pressure. Ultimately, I mean, you're probably getting the same amount of cards out of hand at the end of the day, possibly 2, 2, 2. So, quite a lot. Whereas, like, the ace definitely is going to help you survive and potentially, but, like, we can't survive one more turn of these. Okay, against Boa, we want to take second. I think that this hand is okay because what we have is a Garp to search out a little brother, and then a following turn, if we don't get a little brother off the Garp, we can use the Viola to heal one. What is the better one to take? That's a good question. Risky. I think we take the Luffy because we do have 2 aces in hand already. So the chances of getting an ace off the other one might be a little bit more slim, but we'll find out. We'll keep it. We'll keep it. We'll keep it. Of course. What? It's it's always that. It's always that. All right, we'll go 7. We'll go 7 here. They're going to counter out. Of course, Boa likes to counter out of as much as possible to keep their hand size within the 5 or lower so that they can use their ability. I think what's fair for us to do here is, I mean, this looks like they're going to try to pudding us, so let's just counter out so that when they do pudding, which they don't, it's okay. Hopefully this turn we can get a Luffy. Oh my god, how is this even possible? This is insane. We're not going to do that. We're just going to go 6. 6 into 7. I don't understand. We've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 aces, so I figured it'd be safe to take the little brother. This is why this deck can be like wildly inconsistent. We're at 7. It'd be a good time to pudding us probably, but we'll block out of anything here. Or we can just counter out. That's also fine. We'll block. Please. Oh my god. This is insanity. I've never seen anything like this. Let's go ahead and play this. So then we can actually start doing this correctly. Go here. Go 8 to 5. Okay, wow. They really like to keep this alive. That's insane to me. That is pretty crazy. Bottom deck? What? All right. That's fair. This next turn, what we can end up doing is hopefully get a Luffy, the Rocket Luffy, and then use the ability. I think that is going to be good for us. Finally. Oh my god, finally. We can go 10 into 8. and then 7 into 5. Clear their board, and next turn could be risky because they could play a 10 cost Kaido here. That is always a problem, but we do have pudding in hand, so if they do play that, which they're not, thank God, then, you know, it is what it is. We're fine. Is there a world where they just go 10 at this ace? There is a just 10 at me. Okay. All right. Wow. Go 5 to 5, 7 to 5. And then we're going to use this ace to heal back up and then swing 10 to 5. It's probably going to be hard for them to counter out. If they red rock this, then that's awesome for us. Like, I guess. But we can counter out of a lot of stuff as well. They might pudding as well, so keep that in mind. Let's go here. Go here. Yeah, this looks like a pudding turn. Oh my gosh, love to see it. Go here. Yeah, the pudding after they played this Kaido, I mean, instantly, like, they just lost the value, and then we're able to just hit them really hard. We could go just like a 10 and just test their hand, see the waters, what they have. They had they had 9, which they had 10 in total. So if we go here, they take it, and then we go 5 to just get 1 out of hand. So then they're at 10 again, and then we just swing the rest on this rush ace. So yeah, that's why pudding is very good in this matchup, especially, well, when they like to drop the 10 drop Kaido and then you can pudding them. That feels so good. So yeah. Overall, I actually don't think that the 10 cost ace is too bad in this build. I think that running 2 of them is, for me, the perfect amount, because there's times where I was just like on 1 life and I possibly could have been in trouble, but having the 10 drop come down, heal up, and then clear some of the board definitely alleviated some of the pressure. So I might want to consider running this in the deck full time. Not quite sure though if it's the best optimal choice, but it just feels right. You know, having a slew of aces in your ace deck feels good. But overall, I think that this ace, this blue-yellow ace, is probably my favorite rogue deck to come out of OP07. I think that there's a lot of people that are looking for decks outside of probably the big 5. Big 5 being like Bonnie, Black, Yellow, Luffy, Red, Purple, Law, Lucci, and Nell. So this deck, I think, can compete with most of those decks overall. It will struggle a little bit against Lucci. Obviously, in our Lucci match, they didn't see Moria, but we also didn't see Little Brothers, so we didn't get an optimal match for that. But I think a Nell is a fair shot because the pudding really hurts them. And then, of course, Hancock is really good. Red Rock's really good in that matchup. So, yeah, I think this deck has legs. I think it's really good. And I really want to take it to some locals and play it and test it a little bit more there. Let me know what you guys think about the deck and the deck list itself. What would you change? What would you add? Do you like the 10 cost ace? Is it something you would consider? As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.